Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Math with Mr. W. And today's discussion is all about the number line. The number line. And why are we talking about the number line? The number line helps us to think about number sense. What are numbers all about and where do they belong? What are their order? Everything about them. So let's take a look at those. So notice what I've drawn here. I've drawn it a little bit differently. Most times people look at a number line, they got this line straight across. And everything seems to have the same sort of power. From 10 to negative 10. Everything's the same. But I'm thinking I'm talking to 5-year-olds. You're talking to 5-year-olds. And I had this thought that perhaps things that they're looking at, they need to understand the size of things based on a little different view. And I had this thought, maybe this might help. So what I did was I drew the number line a little bit differently. I put 10 here, and I put that as the largest number and the closest thing to them. And then I serpentined it back, making the numbers a little bit smaller as I went back. Slowly as I went back, I got a little smaller to 0. The positive numbers. The positive numbers. Now, 1 is our first counting number. 0 is my first whole number. Then I continued my story because I think of 0 as a mirror, because we also have the negative integers to look at. The negative integers. Now, your children at age 5 are not going to be involved in working on these. No, they're not going to be involved in doing these. But they're going to probably wonder where they came from. And all you have to do is say, well, think of 0 as a mirror. If 0 is a mirror, then everything that happens on this side has to happen on this side. But also, things are getting smaller. We think of things that are getting smaller. So as negative gets bigger, the number on the negative side gets bigger, it's actually getting smaller. So as you see here, it's like it's moving out into the distance and the numbers are getting smaller. So the positive 10 was the biggest one. And the negative 10 was the smallest. So for our youngsters who are looking maybe at the number line for the first time in their life, they're looking at it for size. And they get a sense of size as well as position. This is so important. And I hope this might help you out. I hope it helps a lot of people out. It just came to me the other day, and I've never done this before. So if it works for you, this is great. Again, you're the warriors of education. And one thing that I noted over all the years that I substituted, that when I went into the kindergarten and lower grade classes, I saw a lot of letters all over the walls. But I didn't see a whole lot of numbers. Except one kindergarten class that was loaded with numbers. Just one. And I wondered why. Why aren't there numbers? And I think we need a lot of numbers. We need this kind of stuff all over the place. And we need numbers on the floor. We need squares on the floor that have these numbers, not necessarily serpentine, but maybe all the way to 50 and all the way back to negative 20. so the students can stand on them and be on them and know when it's an even number or an odd number. So here we can look and recognize that 0 is an even number because it's between 1 and the opposite of 1, the opposite of 1. Call it the opposite of 1. The opposite of 1. So call it the opposite of 1. It's what's happening on the other side of 0. And when they get to the future up there, when they talk about subtraction, this is what's taken in the opposite direction. So when they have 5 and then they want to subtract 2, well, that's the opposite of 2. So that gets them back to 3. So this is a big, big help. Now, again, you don't have to do anything other than talk about 0 is my mirror. And these are just the opposites of all the numbers you have out here. I hope this has been a help. I hope it makes sense. I hope it gives you a benefit. This has been Math with Mr. W, and we'll see you next time.